Hello and welcome to MWEB's Entrepreneur Zone. I'm Paul Hobden, and with me today I have Pieter de Waal from Hermit on the Hill. Welcome, Pieter.
Hi, Paul.
Tell us a bit more about Hermit on the Hill.
Well, Hermit on the Hill, it's a wine range that we started in 2000, and we started very small. We started making only one wine, which is a Syrah wine from Paarl grapes. And because we didn't have a lot of money, we didn't have a lot of funding available, we actually went out, we rented cellar space, we bought grapes, and we made it in Paarl in the cellar of Coleraine. We bottled the wine and we sold the wine, and ultimately we've now grown. That was 300 cases. We are now probably up to about 3,000 cases per year. Yeah, so it's grown quite a bit, but it's 12 years. It's been an uphill battle. The wine business internationally is extremely competitive, and you are in a luxury market, so you do feel the forces of economic turbulence quite heavily. Some people say that the worse the economy is, the more people drink, but that's not quite true. You still have to fight for your little piece of the market and to get your niche, and to make sure that you can have a sustainable business. And as we were joking, we've been doing well, so if all goes well, we'll be profitable in 20 years' time.
So this is a business that you got into for passion?
Yes, yeah. As they say, there are three reasons to get into business: ROI, ROE, and ROP. So ROI would be return on interest, ROP would be return on passion, and then ultimately you get ROE, return on ego. So we have a lot of people in the wine business who do it for the ego, and a lot of people who do it for passion, and hopefully a few people who do it for return on interest as well.
So what have some of the challenges been in setting up this business?
I think the big problem is that it's a very capital intensive business. If you want to plant your own vineyards, if you want to build your own winery, it can become extremely expensive. So you have to leverage. You have to ensure that you can get rent technology or rent cellar space, or go out and really bootstrap yourself and ensure that you don't overspend, because that happens. And ultimately, when you've now made the wine and you put it on the shelf and it's a new player in the market, you have to now put a price to the bottle of wine. And because you're a new contender and a new competitor, that price can be way above what the market is willing to pay. So you have to, at all times when you're a startup entrepreneur in the wine business, keep your costs, control your costs, so that when you get into the market, you can be competitively priced. So we didn't own any technology to start with. No pumps, no tanks, nothing. We rented everything. We borrowed it. We didn't steal anything, but if we had to, we would have. But you absolutely have to control your costs, and you don't have to rely on it 100%. You have to ensure that you have another income stream coming from somewhere else. I mean, as I said to you, I lecture on a part-time basis. I act as the secretary of a great variety organization. I do tourist guiding, everything to keep cash flow going so that I can invest my money in my wine business. Because from the time that I make the wine till I put it in the bottle, till I put it on the shelf and get my money into the bank, can be anything from 2 to 3 years. So it's not a quick cash flow generator.
So you're a true entrepreneur at heart, having your fingers in a number of pies?
Yeah, I don't quite know what the word entrepreneur means, but for me it means opportunity. It's the ability to see an opportunity and to grasp an opportunity. And as I said, it's about passion. It's not about making money. If I wanted to make money, I would have been in a completely different business than the wine business. But this is what fascinates me. And that is the beauty of entrepreneurship. It gives you the opportunity to do something you really love, to do something that you absolutely makes your life better and makes you happy. It may not be the most profitable thing on earth, but from a point of view, from a psychological profit, I think entrepreneurship is a great thing.
Now, in terms of your business, there's two sides to it. There's the production side and the wine making, but then you've also got to market it. How do you take a new brand to market in a competitive environment?
Yeah. I lecture marketing at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, but I'm probably one of the worst marketers myself. Because once you've made the wine, you have to go out and now tell people why this is better than anybody else's. So we've worked very much on the basis of working one-on-one, working with people who share our passion, people who have, for example, small wine merchants in and around Cape Town, restaurants in Johannesburg and Durban, people who are owner-managed, who are also entrepreneurs, who are people who share your vision of doing something special. I've steered clear of the supermarkets and the big retailers purely because I don't engage in, having to go for discounts and big budgets and having to put big money into promotions and to fund the brochures for the supermarkets. That's not what I got into this business for. I'm in this business, I want to make something that I enjoy making, that people can enjoy drinking, and that they can share your passion for what you're doing, that you're really trying to make something authentic, something handcrafted, something unique.
Peter, there's an interesting story behind the name of your brand.
Yeah, it's called Hermit on the Hill. And it refers back to when I started doing some research, and I was working in France at that stage, making wine with a friend of mine in France. And there's a long story about how this all happened. We were 30 kilometers from the nearest town, and also we were both single, and the joke was, we feel like we are hermits sitting on a hill. And that's where the whole joke started. And then when I did some more research, we found that there was a guy, Pieter the Hermit, in the 11th century, who was a medieval monk, and he was involved in the First Crusade. And winemaking for me was a bit of a crusade. It was something I wanted to do, something I believed in, but something I probably knew was never going to be as profitable as staying in the private sector or working for a boss or a big company. So it was a bit of a crusade, doing it for the love of it. And that's where the name Hermit on the Hill started in 2000. So we've been going now for 12 years.
Some of the difficulties, I suspect, in your business is that you're reliant on the weather and the crops. Tell us a bit about managing that.
Well, we're very fortunate in the sense that we don't own any vineyards. So we can go every year and decide which grapes and where to source our grapes from. So we're very fortunate in that sense. It's the only way we can control our cash flow, because we can't. Today, to plant a hectare of vineyard is going to cost you 120,000 Rand. It'll take you 10 years to make that vineyard profitable. So we as small entrepreneurs who are cash strapped or cash constrained, we don't have the money to go out and buy land and plant vineyards. So we decided we'd rather buy in our grapes from viticulturists, from grape growers who are absolute masters in their field. So we work with the grape growers, we go to them and we say, we're looking for Shiraz, we want to harvest it 23.5 Balling, we're looking for something maybe east facing, and we go and identify our rows, and they will then absolutely manage those rows to our specification.
And then on the sales side of the business, you sell to small wine shops and boutique wine shops. You also sell online?
Yeah, well, we sell to specialized wine shops, we sell to restaurants, but all very much niche. We do a bit of work. We actually have created some export markets in Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and the UK. Again, small, maybe a pallet a year. 600 bottles a year into each market, or 1,200 bottles into each market. And then online, we're not big online. We do have a website, we have a blog that we try to keep updated, but we're not that big.
Do you find with people's ability now with the internet to kind of review wines and review food and whatever, that's a help to you, or sometimes a hindrance?
For us, it's only been a help because we get a lot of free exposure, and because we believe, and fortunately we've always had great responses, that our product actually just needs to get some airing or some response from the bloggers, from the consumers, from the restaurants and the retailers. And we've been extremely fortunate. I sometimes type in Hermit on the Hill and I get reviews of our wine, that people who have drunk our wine, people who have had it at a restaurant writing a review and saying how fantastic the wine was.
So 12 years of your passion. Where to from here?
Well, when I started this business, and it was called Hermit on the Hill, the name Hermit on the Hill, I was single, and then I got married at the age of 41 and had a little one who's now 14 months old. And my wife is also an amateur winemaker, boutique winemaker, so it's great for us to be able to do this together. So our team have now doubled, so the Hermit on the Hill has now become Hermits on a Hill.
I've got some rapid fire questions for Pieter de Waal from Hermit on the Hill. Pieter, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Don't become an entrepreneur.
And your best moment as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think when one of our wines got nominated for 5 stars in the Platter Guide recently, or last year, that was after 12 years of hard work, we got a 5-star nomination. That was a great, great opportunity for us.
And the biggest mistake you've ever made?
Not being willing to take more risk, being willing to go to people and capitalize my business a bit better. I think that was one of the mistakes I made. If 8 years ago I went out and I went a bit bigger, the business could have been bigger by now.
And what quality do you look for in people that you work with?
With the same passion as we have, definitely, and also a willingness to commit, a willingness to go the extra mile. Entrepreneurship is not about 9 to 5.
So what qualities does an entrepreneur need to succeed?
Drive, passion, and a lot of patience. Things don't happen overnight. You have to understand that if things are bad, work at it a bit harder, spend some more time, and ultimately things will pay off for you.
And your biggest inspiration as a small business owner?
Well, my parents worked for themselves for as long as I can remember. And my mom taught me to do books, and my dad taught me to do the passion bit. And they were great mentors for me in my entrepreneurship life.
What would you do differently?
Probably have started earlier.
What makes South Africa a great place to be an entrepreneur?
I think there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of freedom. People are willing to try new things. Consumers, we have a very broad and diverse consumer base across all demographics, whether it's racial, whether it's age, whether it's interest. So we have a really diverse society that we can work with. So that for me is a great opportunity that you will find a market for your product.
What keeps you awake at night?
I think what we're going to do next year. With a wine business, you have an opportunity of about 3 weeks to a month. That's your harvest time. And there are so many opportunities, so many different choices that you have to make.
And what gets you going in the morning?
Definitely double espresso, yeah. And my daughter. The first thing I wake up in the morning is about just after 6 when my daughter tells me it's time to wake up. And then after that will follow some good coffee, and then the day will start at about 7.
Pieter, thank you very much. And thank you for watching. We look forward to the coming weeks where we'll bring you more South African entrepreneurs on MWEB's Entrepreneur Zone. Thank you and goodbye. Pieter, as an entrepreneur yourself, as someone who lectures in entrepreneurship, what's your philosophy about it?
I think something that in our family is very important is that we always say, if you want something spontaneous, you have to organize it. So that's why today I brought along a bottle opener, and I brought some wine along for us. So this is my Hermit on the Hill, the White Knight 2011. And I've got some glasses and we can try to taste some wine. So you can see that this isn't just about talking about entrepreneurship, it's about walking the walk. Okay, so there we have the opener. And we always joke and we say that when you're opening a bottle of wine, the second nicest sound in the world is when you open it and it goes pop. And then the nicest sound is if you actually pour the wine, it goes glug, 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 glug into your glass. So I hope you enjoy that. That's our Sauvignon Blanc Semillon Blend 2011. And it's a lovely wine for summer. And for sitting with a seafood platter somewhere on Camps Bay Beach or anywhere like that. So enjoy, Paul.